olives.
Wow, that is a pretty nice mix right there.
Yeah.
Mash it all together. I mean, I guess it is smashed all together in your stomach, but
hmm
beforehand, did you smash it all together?
No, I had it separate, like a couple bites of this one, a couple bites of that one. It's just the leftover extra stuff that I had from previous meals.
Wow, it's an eclectic assortment. For
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on to do this interview today. Um,
hmm
Excited to get to know you, understand you, and get an idea of where you came from and what your childhood was like and what lights you up and also what you want to accomplish in the future. And the interviews that we do are the purpose of them is because we create experience for each group that we put together. And so we want the experience to be relevant to each individual. So this interview allows us to get to know you so that we can match you up in the right groups,
Mm.
which then allow, for more relevant content. The more relevant it is, the more impact we can make.
Mm. That sounds great. Makes sense.
So if you will, I would love for you to, just begin sharing your background, where you were born, and, whatever you feel comfortable in sharing.
Okay. Um,
I want to talk some chips while you speak. Is that cool?
yeah, that's totally cool with me. Let's see. Okay. I'm just bringing this closer so that I can not have to talk so loud. Um, so I was born in San Diego, and I grew up in North County, um, doing lots and lots of creative stuff, lots of music and theater, performing all the time, doing voice lessons and dance classes, and that was my most favorite, you know, happiest thing to do. Um, and I kept doing it, and then as a teenager, I was doing more and more, and doing bigger and more professional level shows around the whole Southern California area. And then I went to college in New York City. I went to New York University, and then I continued to live there for the next 4 years. So I lived there a total for 8 years, and moved back here about 1 year ago. And while I was in New York, I was doing lots of different things. It was quite eclectic mix. A lot was the same, like music and theater, performing in musical theater, performing in plays, performing with bands, singing, and then I was also teaching early childhood classes, music and movement classes for little kids. They were babies up to age 5.
Hmm.
So that was really fun, really challenging, but rewarding and very sweet to do. Um, I also, in that time, worked at some nonprofit organizations that were mostly focused in doing international development work in India, which that was a passion that really came up after I studied abroad in India in my third year of college. I did a semester there. That was very impactful, had a very big impact on me. And those have been my sort of parallel interests, a lot of creative stuff and artistic work, and then international development, humanitarian work, nonprofit kind of work. Along the way, I've also gotten really interested in health and wellness and healing and yoga, and have did a yoga teacher training and taught some yoga and a lot of meditation practice also. And through all of that, well, it's made a really great impact in my own life. Just learning to get to know myself better and uh, practicing mindfulness in life really around everything. Just becoming more and more conscious of my actions and choices and words and relationships and everything. And out of that has come kind of where I feel I'm heading now, and what I want to continue growing and learning in is that area, sort of health and wellness, um, and like emotional health and psychological well-being. So I'm aiming to be able to do some kind of a therapeutic practice, do some kind of therapy with people. So having one-on-one clients, and then also doing groups and group workshops, which that's something I've loved to participate in myself. And one of the places I also worked in New York was called the Open Center, and it was a center for holistic learning and adult education. So there was lots of meditation and yoga and different spiritual practices, and also a lot of creativity and personal development type workshops. So while I was working there, I got to participate in a lot, which was great. And I so admire all those teachers, and I feel that have benefited so much that I would like to follow somewhat in their footsteps and sort of find my own way and find my own particular offering, what I can put together and offer, in that way to help people. So that's where I'm looking towards now, and I still love to continue with music and play music. I just played a couple shows in the past couple of months um, around San Diego. So that's a lot. Do you have any further questions or areas of elaboration?
Um, you gave me a pretty good scope of who you are and what you have brought into the world and also what you want to bring in the world. And actually, a question did come up for me
Mm.
speaking, but I think you already actually answered it when you're speaking about following in these individuals' footsteps in the realm of personal development
Mm-hmm.
and gaining an understanding of what realm you'd like to deliver that offering in. Was it what came to me in answering that question? Is it in the health and wellness field? Is that where you want to what you want to deliver to the world, or is it more in the creative music element, or maybe a mix of both?
I think ideally it's some way of mixing both.
Mm,
Um, and that's it's great that you picked up on that question, because that's kind of the question that's at the forefront. Like, okay, do I work towards these both concurrently? Do I focus on one first and then like add in the other one later, or do I do one as my main one and one on the side? Um, but another way to answer it is to say that I've been researching and planning to do a graduate program in psychology. So specifically, then I would be grounded and trained in the clinical psychology practice. So that would potentially become, the core basis of what I would be offering. And in particular, I'm really interested in mix of like psychotherapy and meditative practices, mindfulness, being able to incorporate those Eastern practices into other, programs that can be of benefit.
that's awesome. I share similar interest in you, where I
Mm,
used to be a musician. I can't say I am like actively a musician. The trumpet, the baritone, and other instruments I like to play. And my background is also in entertainment as an
mm,
event producer. I used to be a nightclub promoter. I would bring celebrities down here to San Diego to do these really fun, cool events. Uh,
mm-hmm.
but also, out of necessity to heal my own pain and suffering. That's
Mhm.
how I got inspired into personal growth and personal development.
Mhm.
And what I'm doing now with the EvoRoom is actually a combination of the two things that light me up the most, which is the creative side, music, entertainment, and personal development. That's essentially those two things I've been able to combine and have as part of my life, which lights me up. I'm completely fulfilled in what I'm doing, and it
Mhm.
be the most effective in helping others because I'm standing in my power, doing the things that I love doing most, and I know by standing in my power, that gives permission for others to do the same.
Mhm.
So it's really wonderful to hear that you're at that juncture right now in your life where you're trying to make a decision and choice of like, okay, what do I do? And you have an understanding of what your interests are. And now the question, you know, that you want to answer is like just as you posed it. Do I want to do one, the other, both, or how do I do it? What's the approach? So I'm excited for you to actually answer that question for yourself, and also what's going to unfold for you in your life as a result of answering that question, and also what's going to happen to those that you serve as a result of finding what really lights you up and what fulfills you in your life. So, what an awesome thing, an awesome place to be. And thank you for.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear also your perspective and where you are now and how you've been able to bring these things together and offer something that's really coming from you, uniquely to your experience. So that's really encouraging to me to.
And I would love, to take any time if you so wish and are inclined, to share more details of my story because it seems like we have, some synergy in certain areas. And if there's anything I can
Mhm.
provide as encouragement or inspiration or motivation or just helping to answer any questions that help to propel you and support you, I'm totally open to that.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be really great to hear more
Awesome.
whenever, in whatever way, you know, would work for you.
Okay. Beautiful. So that gives me a great understanding of where you are and also what you want to accomplish. And so
Hmm.
I would love to answer any questions that you might have about the Evo Room or myself or life in general.
Wow. Well, I have heard rave reviews from my friend Nahit about his experience in the Evo room, and I think he was definitely right on by recognizing that it's something that I would be interested in as well. I love just exploring all different ways of approaching these questions and things. So I'm really interested to see what that experience is like, I guess. Well, I don't know some of the particular like logistical things about it, like how long is it? What is the schedule? When is it? How does that work? Is it scheduled now, or is it like?
The way we have been running it thus far is basically using organic emergence, which is
Mm,
the experiences themselves. There's no set way that we do them because each experience is created uniquely for the group that we put together. So the time frame
mm,
could be different. Normally,
mm,
the the ones that we've been offering, they're called threshold experiences, which are designed to introduce people into the EvoRoom experience, get them acquainted to the energy that we bring, the type of people, the content
mhm,
that we share. And then we have what's called the elevation experience, which is a more in-depth, immersive experience, and that's the next one that we have scheduled uh, at the end of this month, June 27th, 28th, 29th. And so that's
mhm,
a 3-day experience starting Friday afternoon and ending Sunday afternoon.
mm,
So we have that one, and then we'll have another threshold coming up pretty soon. Usually the thresholds are a day long, starting at like somewhere 8:39 in the morning, depending on where we are and what we're going to offer, and then
mhm,
in the evening around 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Um,
mhm,
and then throughout the day, what we do is we create just really fun experiences that are designed to accelerate growth.
mm,
And one thing that I found to be a super effective way to actually accelerate growth is through fun and play. Um, and that's just who I am as an individual. I really like to have fun. I really like to entertain and be entertained and just enjoy life to its fullest. Um, and so I bring that gift into the space and didn't realize that it's something that could be an effective tool for personal growth. But now, based off the science and things that I've been learning about it, is like when you're having fun and you're in joy, your system and your body and your spirit is at a place where it produces the most pure positive thoughts. And with the most
Mm-hmm.
pure positive thoughts follow the most pure positive actions. And with those pure positive actions, of course, they attract experiences that are more serving to an individual as opposed to things that don't serve us. So what we've been doing is creating these experiences where we're not utilizing the traditional way of delivering information, which is the whole academic style.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher here, student there, feed information into the mind, memorize,
Mm-hmm.
memorize. Our approach is we want to create experiences where people actually feel what what concepts that we're sharing, so that they can, once you have the feeling of what it is that we're trying to share, then you can more embody and integrate that information into your daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Experience being the best teacher, in our opinion, uh, is the way that we deliver, the content that we share, and has been the most effective way. So when you combine the fun and the play with experiential content, um, and then the community, like we really focus on connection. It's really important, in the process, connection to ourselves, to organizations, is the source of power,
Mm-hmm.
and creating that connection. So that is a big focus in what we do in the Evo. And so that's kind of an overview of what the Evo Room offers to the world.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, it reminds me of hearing about that. It reminds me of something that I participated in 2 years ago. That's called Quarter Life Calling. It's like a retreat that I did it at Kripalu Yoga Center in Massachusetts, and it's I think for ages like 18 to 28 or something like that. And it's at least part of it was utilizing some similar stuff, but it was also very yoga based. So there's a lot of yoga, but then there was a lot of this like play and exercises and community and connection and stuff like that. So
What
yeah,
was it called again? Just
it's called Quarter Life Calling.
for the life calling.
Quarter Life Calling, and the person who created it is named Kobe Kozlowski. She's really awesome, really inspiring teacher.
Cool.
Um,
I just bookmarked it. So thank you for sharing that. I always
yeah.
hear anything that you may be able to be inspired from. So
Mhm.
sounds like one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be like potential crossover or something sometime. It seems.
Collaboration or whatever it may be. That sounds wonderful. So again, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hmm. So how many people are there usually? Is it, does it just vary depending on who the
Yeah,
group is?
it varies, but what our intention is to create the most awesome connection between individuals that are involved in
Hmm.
experience. And in order to do that, what we found, it has to be something like 30 or less. Most
Hmm.
preferably like 18 to 20 people, more intimacy. Uh,
Hmm.
more intimacy that exists, the better the connection we found. So we like to keep it as small as possible, but large enough to where we can reach out to as many people as possible as fast as possible.
Hmm. Awesome. How long has it been going on?
Well, the organization itself, I founded it. October 6th was the first e-learning experience that we created. But as far as the process, I've been doing it for the last couple of years, but privately just
Yeah.
with friends because I thought, I had the fear, that what if I offered this to the world, that people would think I was weird and not cool. Really crazy stories in my mind about that. but now
Mm.
I've broken through because it was just encouraged to me over and over again to share this with others, and watching others grow and emerge into their fullest potential, through the process that I've been sharing. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I share it with anyone? So that
Hmm.
to want to share it, and here we are today.
Wow. So how did you develop it? Like what inspired you and what did you draw upon?
Hmm, it's a great question. Actually, it was inspired by pain and suffering.
Hmm.
Last year was probably the toughest year of my life after experiencing, some suffering from a transition in my marriage. Um,
Hmm.
and also, in the middle of last year in July, my little sister, who was only 24 years old, passed away. And
Hmm.
there was a lot of issues within our family, with, of course, the loss of our sister. So, just those two things were kind of the big things that happened last year. But then there's also other little things that happened, for the last 4, 5, 6 years of my life that I've just been in transition mode. So one,
Hmm.
one day last year, I was just sitting there, just like bawling in my room and crying, and asking
Hmm.
the universe, or I asked the universe, what can I do to sustain myself? Because I was at the lowest point of my life financially, but at the same time, make an impact and also enjoy myself. And then the idea to create the Evo Room is what came to me the next morning. 2 weeks later, October 6th was the first one. So that's what
Wow.
inspired me. But the actual process itself was bred from my own experiences in personal development.
Hmm.
As I mentioned before, my background in entertainment is part of what I use, because I understand, how to help people have fun and to find joy and
Hmm.
light them up. So I totally get that being in that industry. But then I left the industry because, taking people to a club and promoting that isn't what really makes an impact in the world. But
Hmm.
in that space, I realize now afterwards, right, that I needed to understand how to reach, the popular culture and people in that realm, because that's what the room is created for, to reach the masses, not just for people that are already in personal development.
Hmm.
I was able to utilize my background and my experience in entertainment, combine it with my, 6, 7, 8. Well, I mean, personal development happens all our life, right? But
Hmm.
intentionally and actively, about 6 or 7 years for myself. And it came out of necessity to heal, the pain that I've been through, emotional stuff and anger and all this other crap that I dealt with.
Yeah.
So I pulled from my experience in those two realms to create, this process, and also, in partnership with my mentor and April and a few others on this team that are also in the personal development realm, who have helped to refine it to what it is today.
Hmm. Exciting. Wow. It's amazing that there was such a short time in between when you had the idea and then when the first one took place.
I'm really action oriented, and so when I have clarity of what I need to do, I don't hesitate to do it. And I have so much experience creating, events, if you will, that
Hmm.
I've done events, with a week and a half of just promotion and filling, a venue with 1,200, 1,500 people. So, filling a space with 15 to 20 people, I was like, I can do that. That's really easy, and
Hmm.
I did it.
Wow. Awesome. Mm.
So the bigger picture I'd love to share with you, that I just recently started sharing with people, because what most people see on the outside through Facebook, social media, whatever, is, just the physical experiences, and that is like personal growth or whatever that perception may be. But what I've envisioned as far as what this can be to the world is, um, we're creating an elite force for good. We're loosely calling it the Evo Elite. And you have the Army Rangers and the Navy SEALs, which are elite forces that are used for war, right? And they're meant to create peace, but through the act of war. So, what we're doing is we're creating an elite force for good, where war is not necessary, right? We can use our consciousness and all that to create
Hmm.
solutions for the problems that exist. So, at the end of every year, what we're going to host is what we're calling an Evo Grand, where we're going to invite 100 people who are impact players, game changers, whatever you want to call them, contributors of society, 100 people, and we're going to invite them to a secret location somewhere around the world, and we're going to create a 7 to 10 day Evo experience for them. And the people that we will be facilitating the experiences are really iconic, influential people, masters of the universe from around the world. And by that, for example, I mean Richard Branson would facilitate the EvoRoom experience in leadership. We'll have LeBron James that can do an EvoRoom experience in physical well-being, and Beyonce who could do an EvoRoom experience in song or dance through experience and self-expression through song and dance. So having these high-caliber individuals who are at the top of their game of what they have done in the world, training these 100 people, and then after the experience, we're going to track the performance of the individuals they do with the information, and out of that, then we'll select 8 to 10 people who will become the Evo Elite at Elite Force for Good. And our job as the EvoRoom is to offer to them money or whatever resources they need, go off and do corporate operations, and the intention is to create harmony in the world, going into corporations, education systems, wherever it may be. So how do we get to the 100 people? Well, that's what we're in the process of doing now. So the threshold is that we create the elevation experience that they're all there for us to observe and to breed, these individuals and to find out who those 100 people will be that we invite. And so the process we're going through right now, we're training them, offering these really cool experiences to accelerate their development, and then we observe them and watch, how they grow, how they apply what we share with them, and then we'll select 100 people from that process.
That sounds really exciting. Someone just walked over and got distracted. Yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea. I mean, yeah, it totally makes sense to me. Definitely. I know how impactful experiences can be, and I mean, in my theater experience, we would sometimes do experiential performances or participatory performances. So it was like an art performance, but there was, the intention was to let go of the boundary between who is performing and who's the audience, and so it was, we would create these like creative or just different types of scenarios, maybe involving like music or painting or movement, and yeah, on some subtle level, even if there's no verbal like teaching going on, just having new experiences in itself changes you on some level. Yeah.
Experience is the best teacher. I'm sure you've heard that before, and I've experienced that for myself in my life, and going through the educational system and filling my head with all this academic stuff that I never really integrated into my life, and then having experiences that allowed me to integrate things that I've learned through my own personal development. So definitely a big piece of what we do. And I'd like to ask you the question: what interests you about the EvoRoom, and what has attracted you to be even on this call?
What has attracted me to the EvoRoom?
Yeah.
Oh, just generally my own interest and need to grow in myself as much as I can in order to be more active in the world and to offer more and to be in alignment with the things I feel called to do and to really express that fully as it can be and just continue to grow. So I'm just generally very not only interested but really compelled, and I feel excited and passionate about things that will help me grow. And um, you know like what you were saying, we all have these conventional ideas that we absorb through our lives, and I've been finding that a lot of the work is just kind of like letting go of those ideas about what you should be doing, what you need to do, what's a good idea and what's not a good idea. And but a lot of my most creative ideas are not conventional things, and so I I know that I will continue to move forward and do really well by having uh, sources of support for me to actually move forward with these things, even if they are unconventional, or you know, some might say like they're far fetched or something. I mean, for instance, so one of my music projects is called, well, there's two parts to it, but it's a band that's solar powered. Our shows are, everything is powered by a solar system, and we have the opportunity to go on a tour in India, and we are working on planning that now, and it's really awesome and it's super exciting, but it's also challenging. Just the logistics, like, okay, well, how are we going to get it funded, and how are we going to travel, and how are we going to make sure we have enough time off of work because we have our regular jobs, and I I can rely on myself a lot to stay positive about all of that, but I know that just the more that I strengthen myself and surround myself with other people who are willing to think outside the box and uh, go forward with something that seems like a dream but can become real, the more I'm like surrounded by that energy, it just supports me more and allows me to actually do it rather than get caught in the skepticism or.
Makes it easier to accomplish those exact things that you dream of, and that's definitely one of the benefits of the Evo Room is that we focus so much on creating that community that allows people to feel supported, not only feel it, but to actually have those resources in place because the connection is so deep between the individuals. They're so willing to offer whatever resources an individual needs in order to grow, and that's how people amazing accelerated growth is because they not only feel supported, but they actually have the resources available to them to create those things that they wish to create in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Totally get where you're coming from, and would love to create the space for you to have that support and the resources that you may need to create whatever it is that you want in the world. Because it's obvious to me, and I can sense into it that all you want to create is things that serve people and serve yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in full support of any individual that has that intention in their heart. I can feel it coming out of you, it's exuding out of you. I commend you for that and would love to support you. And at this time, um, I just want to let you know, like in the process for the Evo Room now, we're in the selection process for choosing, the next group for this experience that we're creating, and so this interview allows me now to have the information. I can use that information as we're selecting to figure out, okay, who is best matched up with who, and which group can we put together to make the most, or the group that's most conducive for growth. So I'd like to take a couple of days and then get back to you on as we do the selection process and figure out who's the best in line as we do all these interviews. And that'll
Mm-hmm.
whether we can invite you to the next one coming up or the next one after that or whichever one that we feel is the best one or the suggested one that we have for you.
Mm-hmm.
Process works at this point.
Okay, that sounds great.
Beautiful, Alexandra.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's stay connected. Do I have my Facebook? Are we connected on Facebook yet?
I don't think so, not yet.
Okay, let's connect on Facebook.
Okay.
Find your name, and then we'll add each other there. That's how you can stay in
Yeah.
touch. and I'll send you information about the next experiences coming up. Um, and we'll go from there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Great. I also commend you in general just for doing this and for really um, making it happen and like letting it come alive and seeing it through. It's really great.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Hmm.
appreciate that acknowledgement. It feels really good. I feel completely in my power, very fulfilled in what I'm doing. I enjoy it. Like, I have so much fun with some amazing people all the time. And now my mission is to share it with as many people as possible and watch their growth and the unfolding of their potential, including people like yourself. So I appreciate the support.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you so much, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon.
It'll be really soon. So enjoy
Okay,
the rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
you too. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.